Hi, my name's Amanda. I'm on the Wikipedia channel, and I create this channel to document my spiritual journey in terms of experiences, insights, and any new beliefs that I want to move forward with in my life in particular, but I thought I'd blog it. This one is an experience I had at a dark retreat. So this is part 2. Part 1 I did on my experience in the dark room, but I wanted to do a second one basically on the dark retreat I stayed at. So the dark retreat I stayed at is called the Hermitage, and it's in Guatemala, and it's on Lake Atitlan. I think I said that right. But it's a beautiful location. They have different packages. It's a silent retreat as well as they have 2 dark rooms, I believe. I stayed in the Buddha cave. Now they have packages, which I bought a 12-day package, 2 days in a normal room, 7 days in the dark room, and 3 nights in a normal room. On my part 1 video, I did mention I do not recommend staying at this retreat, and I just wanted to go into a little bit about why that is. I'm hoping the video is not going to be too long. But mainly it was in general about the food quality and the hygiene. So when I arrived at the retreat, I arrived maybe about 4:30. I think they say please arrive before 4. I got a little bit lost. My bus left late. I missed my stop at the port. So with all that included, I was about half an hour late. I did send a message on their WhatsApp. But when I arrived, a plate of food, there was 2 plates of food on the side. They leave food on the side. And the lady was helping me bring my bags up, and she was showing me around as we were walking up. And she pointed to 2 plates of food, and she said, "Oh, there's the dinner. There's 1 plate for me, 1 plate for you." And now my concern was this food was just left open. It didn't have any cover on it, and I wasn't even on the premises when that food was probably served. So I was a bit concerned about how long has that food been sitting there. So I did ask her, like, "I'm sorry, but how long has that food been sitting there?" She said, "Oh, not long." I said, "No, I really need to know how long, because it's not monitored. It's just left. People are walking past it. It's a hot country. There's flies, there's ants." And she said, "Probably about 20 minutes. And I said, "I'm sorry, but I can't eat that. I've never been served food and just leave it sitting there. At least put a tissue, another plate. I know we're in a third world country, but, my family's from Jamaica. You at least put a plate on a plate. You don't just leave food exposed to the elements, in an outdoor space." So I said to her, "I'm sorry, I can't eat that." But I was like, when you bring my food to the dark room, you do cover it. Because I'm thinking you're walking through all the garden and stuff. You do actually put a cover on it. She said, yeah. And so the next day now, when breakfast was served, again, there was 2 plates of food for me, and the fruit was just exposed. So they ring a bell for you to come down. But if you're reading a book or in the bathroom or in a shower, you don't come immediately on the bell. So when I came down and then the fruit bowl was just sitting there exposed and there's flies around it, I was like, I had just mentioned, like, you do cover the food, right? Looking at the food as well, it didn't look like how it was advertised. So on their website, they do say they have a professional raw vegan chef. Now, chef means trained, and I didn't really get any raw vegan food except for the bowl of fruit, if you call that. They serve the bowl of fruit exactly the same every day. So it is banana, pineapple, and papaya every day. I had for 10 of the 12 days, because I was tired of banana by day 12. Because I paid like just under $1,500 for my time there. Even at hostel, after a while, I explained to them that even at a hostel, I got choice. Like, I stayed at a hostel for $15, and I said they offered me egg and toast, fruit, or cereal. It was like an option. It's like, how are you serving me the same fruit with no thought every day? And the main meal wasn't raw vegan. didn't have any professional elements to it at all. It was just stewed veg, a starch, and a salad. And the salad, in most cases, didn't have any dressing. It was dry cut leaves with some sesame seeds on top. One time there was a plate of pasta with, it was just funny combination with like beetroot sliced and some stewed courgette, but the pasta was dry and just nothing that went. It was just, they had some Guatemalan ladies that were cooking, but they weren't trained and they weren't chefs. So day 2, when I saw the food was not very appetizing, and admittedly I do like flavor in my food, the food was very bland, it didn't have any protein in it. So I was concerned. So I said to them, look, I'm concerned about the hygiene here, and I'm concerned about the quality of the food. So I said that to 2 ladies, and I did offer to bring my own food and just go to a restaurant and get them to freeze it and unfreeze it the night before and just serve it to me heated the next day. They said no, they couldn't do that. So although I wanted to do the dark retreat, as I said, I signed up for solitary confinement, but I didn't sign up for solitary confinement food. You know, I still wanted food. I know some people do it on fasting, or some people do it juicing. But I left it as that was that. She said no. It's like, okay, I've come here to do the dark retreat. It's my time to do the dark retreat. I just got to do it how I got to do it. If that's the case, I went out and got some crackers, some dried fruit, some nuts. So I had that as a backup in case I wasn't eating the food. So another thing that happened on day 2, when I brought it up to 2 separate ladies there on 2 separate occasions, their response back to me was puzzling to me, because their response was, well, maybe, you know, they didn't acknowledge, for one, obviously, well, maybe not, because taste is a person's choice. It's not down to it's down to the individual. So I don't give anyone that about the taste, that it was bland. But they both said to me, which was concerning, that maybe there's something deeper into this. Now, I thought maybe people come up with excuses or get palpitations because they're scared of going into the dark and get frightened, but that was not me. Like, I was prepared for the dark. I was fine with the dark. What I'm scared about is bad food. So that was really interesting, because to me it felt like they were saying, well, is there a past life thing that happened, or am I trying to bring up trauma about the darkroom across into my food? I just wasn't understanding how they both came up with the same statement to me. And as I left, and there was 3 English-speaking workers there, and I spoke to one of the guys and went through the whole thing with him of my experience there. And after I left the retreat, he sent me a quote from a guru, something saying about anger. I'll try and put something on the screen, or a summary of it, because it was quite a long quote, but something about being angry, and maybe me having expectations, which is why I'm angry, and basically turning the other cheek on the situation. So that kind of confused me, because being a spiritual person, which one of my responses to the ladies was, you know, because I'm spiritual, I don't believe I have to put up with crap. Just because I'm spiritual, you know, some people think, oh, just breathe through, it's okay. So I was in pretty much a dilemma about that, because I am a big believer in that we create our own realities, but then also we're co-creators. And so sometimes I think, okay, if there's an injustice in the world, do I just turn my cheek and just ignore it, or just walk away? And especially if they're mis-selling, they've got on their website that they have a professional raw vegan chef, and they do not have that. And that's what I bought, because I know I'm pretty particular about my food, and that's what they advertise on their website, and they don't have it. So I did ask for a refund, but I was in that dilemma. And well, whether, is it me? Am I creating this? Because it was quite, I would say, quite traumatic. And I've been reading the Hermetic principles, and one of the laws that reminds me of this situation is like the law of rhythm. Like there's an ebb and a flow, there's a pendulum swing. So through life, there's not always highs. And with the dark room, I have the biggest highs. But with the food, I had the biggest lows. So with that contrast, overall, I had an amazing time. I mean, what I went through, I could have written a movie on it. It was that much drama and excitement. So, overall, my experience was good, but I don't think they should get away with lying about what they offer their customers, and that I should have to pay $1,500 for what I got. I don't think I should do that. So to me, there's an injustice, and there's lots of people who can ignore situations and think everything will always be all right. I just need to do a prayer and everything's okay. But to be honest, I don't want anyone else to go through the same situation I went through. Now, they had 5-star good reviews. I'm not quite sure how, because the place was pretty filthy. The meditation room had hair and dust all over it, and it's a central focal point to their space. Like, people are going to visit there twice a day, their guests. So it's like, if people are going to visit here so often, you at least need to clean it like every day, every other day. Like, it hadn't been swept for a while. I had to clean it on my first day of arrival. Also, the mats, like, we're in a time where people are concerned about, the C word and everything else. And so in every yoga studio I've been to, you have spray bottle, cloth you can clean with. I'm pretty sure, compared to everything else that was in there, they hadn't cleaned the mats for a very long time, and there was no ability to clean your own mat. So that was a concern. And then also, like, just basic service. So I'm paying a lot of money and there's no basic service. So there's a private room, but you have shared showers and shared bathroom. So with the shared bathroom, the hand towel when I turned up looked filthy when I got there. After I got out of the 7-day dark room, which this would be day 9 now, that towel was still there in a shared space. So the whole time I've been wiping my hands on my clothes. So when it came to day 10, wiping my hands on my clothes, I was like, this is enough now. Let me go on and tell them, you really need to do something here. I know they say it's like coming to your home, or it's not a hotel. But even if you invite somebody to your home, you still have a level of cleanliness and a level of standard that you maintain. In the shower area, didn't have hooks on it. You can't put your clothes or your towel anywhere. You have to like hang them on a shelf or hang them over the rail for the potential of getting wet. And it was like, I went through the whole thing. Also, when I entered the dark room, I had 2 days in the normal room. I left the normal room and they get you to pack up all your stuff because they could rent out that normal room. Obviously, I don't want to have 2 rooms for myself. So I packed up all my stuff. They take it and lock it up somewhere. And I just bring the essentials in the dark room. But when I came out of the dark room, they said, okay, you're going back into that room. Now, I had left that room in a little bit of a state because I thought someone was going to come in and clean it. So I didn't really make the bed. I kind of tossed up the sheets to make sure I hadn't left anything in there. So the sheets were half hanging on the floor. The bin was full. And then they said, go back into your room. So I went back into the room. Sheets are on the floor. The bin's overflowing. And, I've just come out of 7 days of dark. I thought, you couldn't even have checked because I didn't know I was going back into the same room. I had packed up all my stuff thinking I was going to go into another room. So I wasn't aware of this. Otherwise, I would have made the bed. I wouldn't have left the sheets on the floor because there's spiders. You know, it's in a pretty garden, but there's spiders and ants everywhere. Why would I've done that? So on day 10, I had to just vent everything out, like the food, the hygiene, this, and just give them basic customer service. Like the hooks wasn't a problem in the shower, but it was just like, this is how you offer that nice service, like a good customer service, just basic things. And I told him about the towel, and I gave them tips on how to like keep the meditation room organized and have a rota to make sure someone's cleaned it or someone's changed the towel, having someone sign it, you know, and had a good long conversation with somebody. So really the only thing they could have done, you know, I spoke to the gentleman there. He said, okay, you know, we'll look into it. And I felt happy. Everything that was bothering me had gone. I got it off my chest. They're going to hopefully, you know, do some things about it. Obviously, not everything I say. But then after another 2 days of that towel being by the bathroom that was dirty, that was the only thing they could have changed while I was there. For now, basically my entire stay, there was one day that I didn't have to wipe my hands on my clothes. So after 2 days after telling them that could you change the towel by the bathroom, they still hadn't. Like there's 3 guests in the place and there was 3 English speaking member of staff. They didn't have time to change one towel for me. So after that I felt like, hold on a second, you say you never get complaints. So when you do get one complaint and it's only a towel to change, can you not just change that towel? And so that's when I said, okay, I got to ask for a refund here. You know, I've tried to be nice. I've given them tips. I've told them what my concern is, and they've still ignored everything I've said. And so that's the reason why I say don't stay there. You know, I think I've said most of it. The biggest point I have to make, which was the funniest point, which is why it definitely was on the higher level a story I wrote for myself, is because on day 5, if you read the first video, I asked to stay in an extra day. I was going to come out after 5 full days, but I asked to stay an extra day. Now, when I asked to stay that extra day, I hadn't eaten for 2 days. And I asked them, look, I want to stay in an extra day, but please, I haven't eaten for 2 days. Could you please do me a favor? Can you please boil me a potato? I was thinking, you can't muck this up. Can you boil me a plain potato, I asked, and can you bring it with my fruit? Because they always bring the same fruit every day, banana, papaya, pineapple, with some seeds in it. So I said, can you bring that a boiled potato plain with my fruit? So when the box came, there was 1 box. I thought, okay. It was warm. Okay, it's the potato. When I opened the box, it smelled of banana. They had boiled the potato, chopped it up, and then cut a banana and chopped it up and mixed it all together. So this is when I was cracking up in the dark room, because I said, first of all, I don't know anyone who would do that in my life. Any kind of cook. So this means that the people they have in the kitchen are even less than cooks for them to do such a thing. I was thinking, even if they had 1 container. So this is the thing. It distracted from my work in the dark. Because I was thinking, well, you know, even if they only had 1 container and all the other containers were dirty, I would still chop the banana, put the banana on one side, the potato on one side. I wouldn't mix it together. So it was just like so comical, but a total drama. So I leave it up to you of where your heart leads you to stay for your dark retreat, but that was my experience at the dark retreat. I didn't get the end of my story, which I would have liked a refund, and basically again my comments ignored, and basically stating that it's kind of my issue. So that's the kind of response I got. So good luck if you wish to stay there, but all the best on your dark retreat experience. Thank you.